Hello and welcome to another video. This is a complete course of generative AI, and in this video we will be talking about that how to do the data pre-processing or text pre-processing using the Python. So if you have watched my previous video, we discussed about the pipeline, the generative AI pipeline, which means in the pipeline we discussed about the steps you need to follow in order to develop any generative AI application. So that could be like a chatbot or any other generative AI application like ChatGPT. So the first thing or the first step that we discussed in the pipeline was to perform the text pre-processing. And before doing the text pre-processing, basically we'll have to get the data. And we discussed that you can get the data in PDF, in through APIs or in any other format like Excel sheets. So that also we'll be discussing that how to get the data that you need in order to train your models, and later on, we will also discuss that how to do the text pre-processing so that you can clean your data and then later on you can feed your data to the generative AI model. So let's begin. So I have created one Python file that we will be using in order to perform the text pre-processing. And for that, we are going to use the Google Colab, and we'll be using the dataset. So I will explain you how to download the dataset and all the other stuff. So the first thing that you will have to do is to visit the website, which is the collab.research.google.com. So once you go to that website, so definitely you will have to sign in through your Gmail account, and then you will have a pop-up. So again, optionally, you can just cancel or you can click here on a new notebook. So again, if you cancel here later on, you can go to the file menu, and from there also you can click on a new notebook. Okay, now the reason we are using the Google Colab is that Google is offering free resources, and if in your laptop you don't have heavy power GPU or heavy processing unit or RAM, so you can use the Google Colab. So Google is offering free resources online that you can use for a certain limit, because later on we'll be working on some very heavy stuff, and we will be creating the models, we will be training the models. So for that we need some big machines or big servers. So that will not be possible if we will run the Python code in our laptop or in our local machine. So for that we will have to rely on some heavy duty machines. So for the training and for the learning purpose, we can use the free resources which is available on Google Colab. So that is the reason we are using the Google Colab, which means we can run the Python code on Google servers. So once you will visit the Colab website, you will come to this screen, and definitely you will have to sign in, and then you will click here on new notebook. And the code that we are going to use is available on my GitHub page. So I will share the link in the description, so you can just copy the whole file, all the code, so you don't need to write the code. Okay, so I will just explain you the first steps. Later on, once we will go to the file, the Python file, so I will just explain the code. So I will not be rewriting the code again, so that you can copy the code from my GitHub page as well. So you will come up to the blank page. You can rename the file. Okay, you can rename the file, and you can write the code in these cells. Now, another benefit of using the Google Colab is that you don't need to execute all the lines of Python code at once. So what you can do, you can just write one or two lines of code, run that particular cell. Once it is successful, then you can go to the next three, four lines of code, and then the next couple of lines of code. So you can run your Python file in small units. Okay, and if any error, you can just change that smaller part of the code. You don't have to rerun the whole file again and again, because it will take too much time if that file is very heavy or it is accessing very heavy amounts of data. So that is how you will be working, and make sure that you will connect. Okay, so you click here on connect, and later on I will explain you that if you click here on this drop down, and we have here, for example, change runtime. Currently we'll be using a normal CPU, but in the next examples, in the next video, we will see that we will be using the T4 GPU. Okay, so either will be using the T4 GPU or this V2 TPU. So most likely we'll be using the T4 GPU because again, it's this server is based on the GPU, which is very fast and very much recommended for doing any AI related work. But in this example, will be the CPU will be enough. Okay, so we can just make sure it is CPU or even GPU. But for the next examples, definitely it must be GPU. Okay, and you can just click save. And again, one more thing I will show you here. If you go back to Exchange runtime, so you can see here it is runtime is Python 3. Okay, so runtime is Python 3 because we are running the Python code. And make sure you click on connect. It will take few seconds to connect to the remote server. And once it is connected, you will have some storage available. So you can upload the data sets that we will be using for doing the pre-processing, and later on we'll be training our generative AI models as well. So once it is connected, you can see here the check mark, and at the bottom it is connected to Python 3. Okay. And then if you click here on the files icon, the folder icon, okay, so you can see here one folder which is called sample data. So if you click the sample data, so most likely it will be blank in your system, or even if you don't have the sample data, maybe it is having a different name. So what you will have to do, you will just have to click here on these three dots, and you will upload a file that I will show you, the file that we are going to use. Okay. So this is going to be your beginning, the basic step. Okay. Then the code I will show you, you can just copy and paste the code, and you can start executing the file. So that is the first step. That is how you will set up the whole environment at Google Colab. Okay. Then the next thing is, now if we go back to the code, and as I said, we are going to do the data pre-processing, and for that the very first step is we need to have the data. Now the data that we are going to use is like a movie review data. Okay, like there are thousands of reviews about movies, like whether it was a good movie or a bad movie. Okay, and so some comments are positive, some comments are negative. So it's a big data set, big database of movie reviews. Now that data set is available on a website is which is called the Kaggle. So if you visit the kaggle.com, so this website is the one that you will have or you will be visiting very much frequently. So as the data scientist or as the AI engineer or generative AI developer, this is what you will be visiting a lot. So you make sure you create an account. It's free. So you go to kaggle.com, create an account, and once you go there, you can explore their website. Okay, there are lots of good options, good learnings available there. What we will do, we will click here on data sets. Okay, and then the one that we are going to use is the IMDb movie review. Okay, so let me check IMDb dataset. Okay, so IMDb movie reviews dataset. Okay, so once you type here IMDb movie reviews dataset, so you can click here to filter the results. You can click here on datasets, so you'll have all the datasets available. And the one that we are going to use is the first one. So it is IMDb dataset of 50K movie reviews. Okay, so that was 6 years ago. So if we click here, okay, so we can see all the information. We can see all the information, and if we scroll down, so again we can have a preview of the information, that it has two columns. One is the review, and the other column is the sentiment, whether it's a positive or a negative sentiment. So here you have the text. Okay, so it has lots of information there. So what you will do once you find this data set, okay, and at the top, if you are struggling to find this exact data set, you can look at this path here. Okay, and so once you find this data set, you just click here on download. Okay, so once you download the file, the size is approximately, let me check here. I think it's around 60 MB. Okay, it will be mentioned somewhere. It is around 60 MB. Okay, yeah, here. 66.2 MB. Okay, and that is the name of the file. So imdb dataset.csv. So once you download the file, save it on any specific folder. So I have saved it here. This is the one, imdb dataset. Okay, so if I show you the dataset, so it's in Excel format, CSV format. So here we have the whole dataset, and again, just two columns: review and sentiment. So review, which includes like good amount of text, and we can see here there are lots of things, not just the text but the HTML tags and so on. Okay, and we can see here it is 50,000 rows, 50,000 reviews. So it's a big data set. So this is the data set that we will be using. So I will close this Excel sheet. This is the one that we are going to use. Okay, so let's go back. And so we are all set. We have the data set available, and we have set up the Colab environment. Everything is ready. And then what we will do is we will go back to the file. Now this file, each and everything is available on my GitHub page, so you can just download this whole file as it is, and you can copy paste, or you can just run these cells one by one. Okay, so I will explain you the code here. Now the first thing, once you are connected, okay, once you are connected, the first thing you will have to do is go to the sample data and upload the dataset. So you click here on upload, go to the file imdb dataset, double click, and it will upload the file. It will take few seconds to upload the file. Okay, so as it is uploading, so the first line of code we will execute here is this pwd. So pwd basically will show you the folder where you have these files. Okay, it will show you the name of the folder. Okay, so I will just execute, and you can do the same, and you will have this content. So it is the content where you have the file. Okay, then the next thing you will do is you, once this file is uploaded, okay, it is still in process, but this is like some parts of the file have been uploaded. So once the file will be uploaded, so you need to know the path of this file. So you can click on these three dots, and you have the option here of copy path. So you copy the path and you paste here within the double quotes. Okay, so you copy the path and you paste here. Now you need to make sure that your folder, your current working folder, is content, because sometimes you are maybe in some other folder, so your current working folder is not content. So this is you just need, that is the reason we just executed this pwd, to make sure that we are in the right folder. So you should be under the content, because here we can see it is content, then slash sample underscore data, this one, and the name of the file. So we have, so let's execute. Once we have pasted the path, so we'll execute the second line of code, which means the path will be saved in this variable. Okay, so this is all Python code. Okay, then the next line of code we will execute is we will call this file. Okay, and before that we are importing the pandas. Now again, whenever you are reading any Excel sheet or any other type of file, so most of the time you will be using the pandas. Okay, so you'll be using the pandas. So we are importing the panda here as pd, and then we are reading the CSV, read underscore CSV, and then the file path. So this is the file path here. So we are reading the full file path. So we will just wait for few more seconds, because the file uploading is still in progress. So once it is completed, I will come back and then we will execute this line of code. So once the dataset has been uploaded successfully, you can then run the next part of the code. So in the next cell, we are importing the pandas, and then we are reading the CSV file, and we are getting the shape of the file. So let's execute this line of code. So the shape of the file is there are 50,000 rows and there are two columns. Okay. And if you want to just have a look at some of the initial rows, so we can run this file df.head. So these are some of the rows, the first 5 rows that we are getting access to. Okay, now this has 50,000 rows. So what we will do is we will restrict this data set to only 100 rows, which means we will be working with 100 rows only. Otherwise, it will take too much time to process each and everything. So we are just accessing or we are just limiting the data set to the first 100 rows here. And then if we run the shape, so we can see here it is 100 rows and 2 columns. Okay. So that is all setting up the data set. So we have access to our data set, and now we are ready to perform the pre-processing. Now, if you recall from the previous videos, one of the things you will have to do in order to pre-process your data set is to convert the text into lowercase. Okay. Now, for example, uh, if we have a look at the third row, okay, which actually will be the fourth row if we are starting from zero. So if we look at this particular row here, and the name of the column is review here. The name of the column is review, and this is the row number. So this is the text which is currently available in the CSV file. So we can see here it has mixed, characters. It has the lowercase, uppercase. So it's a mix of different cases here. So we are going to convert this into lowercase. And the reason why we are converting it into lowercase is that because if we have text with the uppercase and the same text with the lowercase, so it will be having like two different dimensions in the model, because both word will be have different numeric representation, whether it has a capital case or a lower case. So to make sure that we don't have extra dimensions or extra inputs into our AI model, so we will just convert each and every text into the lowercase. Okay, so that will allow us to reduce the redundancy. So the code here is, so this is the column that we are trying to work on, and we are just converting the whole string into the lowercase, and then we are also printing. Okay, so let's run, and we can see here that the whole paragraph, each and everything has been converted into the lowercase. So that is the simple code you can run in order to convert the text into the lowercase, just for one specific again, we are converting it for the whole all of the 100 cells, but we are just printing it only one cell to have a look at the example. Then the next thing we will have to do is to remove the HTML tag. So again, if we look at our text, so we can see here there are some HTML tags as well. So this is not required. Again, the reason is that we don't want unnecessary input dimensions into our AI model. Otherwise, there will be thousands of input dimensions which are totally useless, and that will put extra load on the whole processing. So we need to make sure to have only the required number of input dimensions. So one of the thing we will do is we will remove the HTML tags as well. So these are totally not required. So this is what we will do. We will import the library RE, which stands for the regular expression, and we are creating a method, uh, just calling it remove HTML tags, and which it will take the input as the text. Okay, it will take the input as the text. So this is the code we have that will allow us to remove the HTML tag. And so this is we are just defining the method, and then in the next line we are calling the method here. So this is where we are calling the method, and we are inputting this text here. So this text is going as an input here. So if we run, okay, so here we have the text. It has different HTML tags within the double quotes. Okay, so these are all the HTML tags. Okay, and what it is doing, it is simply removing all of those tags and giving us the clean output. So PMP Ghost Trainer, Amir Khan, and all that stuff. Okay. So this is how you can just remove all the HTML tags. Okay, and now if you want to remove the HTML tags on your actual data set, so right now we just did one example, that if you have a sample text, so how to do that. But now we want to convert, or we want to do this thing in all of the text in our data set. So this is what we will do here. Okay, and run the code, and here we have the text without any HTML tags. So if we look up here, we have different HTML tags, but now it is all clean data. So we have converted our data into lowercase and we have removed all the HTML tags. Okay. Then another thing we can do here is maybe we want to remove the URLs as well. Okay. So other than the HTML tags, we want to remove the URLs. So this is the code, this is the method we have here to remove the URLs, and it will take text as input. Okay. And wherever it will find the HTTPS or www, all that stuff, so it will just replace that with a blank. Okay. Then if we have different sample text, so this is one of the text here with one link. This is the another link, my a LinkedIn profile and so on. So if we run this code here, and we are at the same time removing this method as well, okay, remove URL, and we are giving the input as a text too. Okay, and output here, check out my LinkedIn. So it has removed the whole URL. Okay, so that is how you can remove the URL from the text. Okay. Then another thing you will have to do as part of the text pre-processing is to remove the punctuations. Okay. So to remove the punctuations, we will import some of the libraries like string, and we'll also be importing the time, and we will see why we are using this time import. Okay, we'll run this code here. Okay, and it will give us the output, the punctuation. So these are the different punctuation marks which we want to remove from our text. Again, we don't need all of those things because that will just add unnecessary input parameters. Okay, so we'll just storing all these punctuation marks in a variable called exclude, because we want to exclude all these punctuation marks. And then we have a method which is remove punctuation, and the input will be the text, and that will simply remove those punctuation marks which are currently stored in the exclude variable. So if we run this method here, okay, and then the next method, so text equal to string dot. So again, this is just a sample text. Okay, and we are running the next line of code. So we can see here that one of the punctuation mark is the dot here, and the question mark, which is part of this variable as well. So it will remove all those punctuation marks. Okay. And it is also showing us the time. So this is the time it took to remove the punctuation marks. And because we are using a for loop here, so we have another method of doing the same thing. So if we look at the next line of code, so this is another method. Okay, and if we run this code here, and again if we give the same text, okay, and if we remove the punctuation marks, so again it has done the same work, but it has taken very less time. Okay. So this method, this approach is highly recommended, especially if you have a very large amount of text. So there is a big difference in the time it will take to remove the punctuation mark. So this method is the one that you should be using. Okay. Okay. And now, for example, if we just have a look at one of the cell in our data set, and there are different punctuation marks which we want to remove, and for that we will be using this method here, this one, remove punctuation 1, okay, on this particular uh, text here. So this is the cell that we are going to execute. Okay, so it has removed all the punctuation marks. And if you want to remove the punctuation marks on the whole data set, so you just remove this 5. Okay, you just remove this 5 and you can execute this line of code. So it will be executed on all the cells. Okay, so that is how you can remove the punctuation marks. Okay? So that is another required step in order to clean your data. Then another thing you can do here, because using the generative AI, you will be creating the large language models and the chat GPT kind of applications. They are all under the large language models here. or you can also by the end of all of these videos you will be able to create your AI chatbots. So in the chatbot, this is what we need here is we need to create these dictionaries. For example, FYI, which stands for your information, ASAP, as soon as possible. So you will be creating the collection of these words which you will submit, you will feed in to your chatbot. Okay. And later on during the chat, if the end user just types ASAP, so the large language model should be able to understand that ASAP stands for the as soon as possible, and based on that, the end user will get the reply. Okay, so this is what we'll do here. We will create different chat keywords. Okay? So you can just, or maybe if there is something missing, you can add some of the words as well. So all you will have to do that after the comma, you will have the abbreviation, and after the colon in the double quotes, you will have the full sentence. Okay? So you can add if there is something missing. So this is what you will do here. So let's execute. So this is what we call the chat underscore words. So here we have the full collection. Okay. And then what we will do here that we have a method chat underscore conversion, and there will be a text as input, and in the text input it will do the processing, and it will check that does it has any abbreviation or not. So let's run this code here. Okay. And then if, for example, we have a chat conversation, and there is a text like do this work ASAP. So how this will be interpreted by the large language model. So if we run this thing, so do this work as soon as possible. Okay. All right. So let's try one more example. So what I have done, let me show here. So this is what the code which we already have. So I just added one line of code, and I typed here FAQ, and this is the key, and this is the value. So it's like a pair, the key value. So the key is FAQ, and it stands for the frequently asked questions. So you can add here. So we have different ones. If you want to add anything from here, you need to copy them here at the top. Okay. So for example, I will add one more. Let's say uh, for your action, I will just copy this, and I will have comma and paste, and I'll just make sure it is properly aligned. Okay. Okay, and it is in single quotes. Sorry. Okay, and this one also. We can all use the double quotes, but since all are using single quotes, so I will use these single quotes here. So I have added two more, FAQ and FYA, okay, which were already available here, but this is just for your information. If you want to make it effective, you need to add them here under the chat underscore words. Okay, so I will run this again, chat underscore words, and if I change the sentence, for example, for your action, so let's call this for your action. Uh, this email is okay, and if we run it, so this email is for your action. Okay, so again, make sure that all the key values are in the first parenthesis under the chat underscore words. Okay. Okay, so that is how you can create different, these short keys, and that is how using this line of code, your large language model will be able to understand that what user is trying to say. Okay, then another thing you will have to do in order to clean your text is to look for the incorrect text and then correct those spelling mistakes. So for that, we will be importing the text blob. Yeah. So let's execute this file, and then we have an incorrect text. So we can see here there are the spelling mistakes. So like certain animals or spellings are wrong. You can see the whole paragraph. So, and if we run this line of code, So it will give us the correct sentence. So certain animals during winter migrate to warmer parts of the world. So this is without any spelling mistake. So this can be done as well to correct your text. Then another thing which is also very much required is to get rid of the stop words. Okay, now what are the stop words? Stop words like we have a list of the stop words like I, me, my, myself, we, our, you. Okay, so these are all the stop words. Now the large language model will able to understand what you're trying to say without these stop words. Okay, so we don't need these stop words, otherwise you will have lots of input parameters into your large language model. So for that we will run this line of code. So we are importing this NLTK, which is the natural language toolkit, and we are importing the stop words from NLTK. Okay, once it is done, we will print the stop words, and for that we will specify the English language. So you can just enter the language that you are using. So for English, we will run, and it will give us the list of all these stop words. Okay, so these are all the stop words that the large language model will remove from the text. It will remove from the text. So again, long list, a, about, okay, after. So these are all the stop words. Okay. Then once we have generated the list of the stop words, we want to remove these stop words from the text that we have. So we have total 198 stop words. Okay. So we have created a method remove stop words, and it will take text as input, and then it will do the whole processing. So let's run this method. And once it is done, so we have a sample text here. So remove my probably my all-time favorite sport, a great game of the cricket, and so on. So there are the different stop words. So if we run, so we'll get the outputs probably all-time great. So it has removed of the so great game. Now the idea is that the large language model will get the meaning what you are trying to say. For example, probably all-time favorite sport, great game, cricket, hockey, okay, boring, waste time. So that's what this is enough for the large language model to understand that what is the context or what you're trying to say. Or for example, whether it's a positive analysis or a negative analysis, or it's something positive or negative. So again, this is all the large language model requires without some of these stop words. Okay, so that is how you can remove these stop words. And okay, fine. And then this is just for the sample text. Now, if you want to apply these, this thing to remove all the stop words from the all of the reviews, okay, which we have 100 rows. So you can just run this line of code, and it will remove the stop words. Okay, all right. Then another thing that again, which is optional, it may or may not be required, is to remove the emojis. Now again, you may have the text in a format where there are different emojis. So either you can remove the emojis, or you can just convert the emojis into some numerical representation and make use or try to understand those emojis. So for example, the first thing we have is how to remove the emojis. Okay, and so for that, we will again import the RE, which is the regular expression, and we will have a method remove emoji, and it will take the text as an input. Okay, and it will try to check whether do we have an emoji or not, and then it will simply replace it with a blank. Okay, so let's run this method, and now we will call this method here remove emoji, and this is the text. Okay, love the movie, it was, and we have emoji. So what it will do, it will just remove. So love the movie and it was, and then we have just blanks. Okay. So again, sometimes it would be fine just to remove the emojis, but it is also possible that if you remove the emoji, you will have the missing understanding of what the user was trying to say. Okay. So for example, love the movie. So instead of saying typing love the movie, user would have mentioned here two emojis of hearts. Okay, so how would we know that whether it was a positive or a negative analysis or the negative sentiment? So for that, we need to understand the emoji as well. So that is what we will see in the next example, that if you want to keep the emojis and if you want to understand that what user was trying to say by using the emoji. So for that, we will use this the next example. So if you want to keep the emojis, so then you will have to install this emoji one library. So for that, you will just run this line of code, pip install emoji. It will take few seconds. And once it is done, you will import this library, import emoji. Okay. And then you will have a one sample here like print emoji dot demojize, and the text here is Python is, and we have an emoji, and then let's see what it will say. Okay, so Python is fire. Okay, so this now again, you can now understand, or the large language model can now understand that what user is trying to say. Otherwise, if we just remove the emoji, it would have been like Python is and then blank. So we cannot understand the full meaning. So for example, now if we put this emoji here, if I copy this emoji and instead of fire, if I put this one, paste, and now if we run, okay, so Python is face blowing a kiss. Okay, so you can get the idea that it is something positive. Okay, it maybe a user likes Python, or maybe it's a movie, so you can get the better understanding if you. So that's how, if you want to keep and understand the meaning of the emoji. Okay. Then another thing you will have to do as part of the text pre-processing is the tokenization, and it is must, you must have to perform this step. So tokenization basically is that if you have a full paragraph, you must have to break the full paragraph into different words or into different sentences, and then you will have to feed in that text into your AI model, because you cannot feed in all like 200 pages of text. So you need to split it into either words or sentences. So that is the basic idea of the tokenization. So one type of tokenization is called the word tokenization. So we have a sentence like I am going to Lahore, and if we run this line, so it has split the whole sentence into words. Okay, so it will understand that where the word is starting and where it is ending. So it will just split the whole thing into different words. So that is the word level tokenization. Okay, then we have the sentence level tokenization. So again, it will identify where the sentence is, ending, and where from where the new sentence is starting. So as it says, it will split the whole thing into based on the sentence. So you have now three sentences based on the sentence level tokenization. Okay. Then another method of doing the tokenization is to use the NLTK. So which is again the natural language toolkit. So we'll have to import the NLTK tokenize. And once we will import the NLTK tokenize, then we will download another required library. And then let's try a text, which is a same text. I'm going to visit Lahore. And if we run, so the same thing, same output you'll get. I am going to visit Lahore. Okay. So again, it will split each and everything based on words. And then if you have a paragraph, okay, so it will break based on the sentence level. So that is the sentence tokenization, and previously it was the word level tokenization. So you can just use the NLTK, and you don't need to create any methods, and just use these lines of code, and all the tokenization will be done by itself. So tokenization is a required step if you have large amount of data. Then another thing you will have to do is to do the stemming, or the lemmatization. So stemming and lemmatization basically means that if you have different words, you need to find out the root of those words, and you will just have the root in your document. Okay, you will have just have the root of those words in your document. So that will allow the large language model to get rid of any identical type of words. So for example, uh, you have now let's first import the library from NLTK to perform the stemming, and then we will run this line of code. Okay, and it will return us the information, the root word. Now the text we have here, for example, is sing, sang, sung, singing. Okay, and if we run and look at the stemming, so we can see here that sing, sang, sung, sing. Okay, so it is giving us the words. Okay, like what is the root of those words. Okay, now for example, if we say that play, played, playing. Okay, and if we run now, so here we have play, play, play. Okay, so all these three words have the same root. Okay, whereas in the previous example it was giving some different output. So for that reason, the stemming is not highly recommended. Sometimes it doesn't give the right output. Okay, so sometimes it doesn't give the right output. So let's try one more example. For example, eat, ate, eaten. So let's try that. Okay, so eat, ate, eaten. Again, not the output that we are looking for. Okay, or and for example, walk, walking. Okay, walked. Okay, so walk, walk, walk. That's fine. Okay, so that is the basic idea, that if you have different words, okay, so it is important to know their root. Okay, so that the large language model will only have this root word. Okay, because again, the large language model don't need to know these different variations. So if this root word is there, so it is enough for the large language model to understand what is the meaning the end user is trying to convey. So that is the stemming, but again, stemming is not very highly recommended. And for example, if we have a text here, and let's see how this will work. So if we just run. Okay, so again, it will do the thing. So probably all favorite movie, a story. Okay, sacrifice, dedication. So again, let's see. So again, you can get the idea that whether it has done the proper uh, given the proper output or not. So that is the output here. Sorry, this is the text that we are trying to convert it into the stemming. And then the method which we already have defined here, stem words. So now we will just input this text here. So stem words. Okay. And you can, for example, here we have story, STORI. So story. So this is again, as a human, you will feel that this is not correct. And for favorite also, it is not correct. All time. Okay. So maybe for the large language model, the model can understand what the user is trying to say. But again, as a human, that may not be easy to understand. So for this reason, it is not highly recommended that to use the stemming. Okay. So the other option we have other than stemming is called the lemmatization. Okay. So lemmatization is much more recommended. So again, the purpose is same, find out the root words of different identical words. So we'll run this line of all these lines of code. So again, it is we are importing from NLTK, and we are importing the lematizer. Okay, and different versions. And here we have a sentence. So I was running and eating at the same time, and so on. So you can just copy and paste all this code. So it will do some downloads. Okay, and once done, so it will show you the actual word, okay, and the lemmatized word. So for example, running, so run, eating is eat, okay, and for example, for swimming, it is swim, and so on. Okay, so you get the idea. So again, the lemmatization is the one that you should be using, and not the previous one, which was the stemming. Now again, we will just go through one more time to check that what are the must steps, that the steps which you must have to perform the text pre-processing. So the first step is to upload your data. So you just upload your data and determine whether you want to work on the whole data set or just few parts of the data set. So the first thing is to convert the text into lowercase. So this is you should be doing. Okay, convert each and everything into the lowercase. Okay. Then once you have converted the text into lowercase, yes, you should remove the HTML tags, because this is all unnecessary thing. You don't need those HTML tags. You just remove all the HTML tags. And remove URL. Again, sometimes again you may want to keep the URLs, but for the understanding of the large language model, the LLM don't need to know these URLs. Okay, so again, I think it is important to remove the URLs as well. Punctuations, yes, you should remove these punctuations. For example, here we have the list of the punctuations. LLM don't need these punctuations. Okay. And optionally, you can create the chat keywords. So these are the like key value pairs. So you can create your own set of key value pairs. Yes, you can correct the text if there are some spelling mistakes. Otherwise, that will be just the waste of the resources if you have the text having the wrong spellings. Removing the stop words. Yes, highly recommended to remove the stop words. You will be able to reduce lots of input parameters. And yes, emojis, it's up to you if you want to keep the emojis. I think you should keep the emojis because nowadays there are different even the chat GPT is now taking the emojis as the input. So you should keep the emojis so that you can get the better idea of what the user is trying to say. So keep the emojis. And tokenization is must. Mostly you should be using the word level tokenization instead of the sentence level tokenization. So you should be using the word level tokenization. And the last thing should be using is the lemmatization. So lemmatization, so you can just use this code to perform the lemmatization. So this all of this code will be available on the GitHub. You can just use all of this code to pre-process your text that you will be using to train the AI model. And so that is all for this video. So I will come back with the new video, and then we will see that what are the next steps. And by the end of 3 or 4 videos, we'll be working directly on the AI model. We'll be creating our chat GPT versions of our models and some of the other AI chatbots. So stick around, and I'll see you in the next video. So thank you for watching.